Today we're going to look at 14 board games that sell for hundreds of dollars, so stay tuned.
One-foot-flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the One-Foot-Flipper. Thought today maybe we could do something a little bit different. Instead of giving me general advice, let's look at some bolos. Let's look at some things you should be on the lookout for. We're going to look at a list of board games here. I think I got 14 of them, and these are games that sell for hundreds of dollars every single time. And you might be passing these games up for various reasons. Now, I'm not going to put exact comp prices on every game, both because high-end prices swing a ton from one sale to the next. Just the important thing to know is that pretty much everything we're looking at here is going to bring in at least $200. We could be talking up to $1,000 for some of these. Now, a lot of these are going to, at first glance, seem like obvious pickups, but it's not so obvious when the price is higher. You know, if you're at a sale or a flea market that generally has high prices, it could be a little tougher. Sure, if you're at a regular garage sale, you see a Hogan's Heroes board game for $2, you're obviously going to buy that. But what if it's got $30 marked on it, or $50? And a lot of these games are going to show up in extensive game collections from somebody who's collected games for decades, and if that person is the one selling them, they might have priced the stuff up a bit. So it is important to know when you could safely pay $50 for a board game. All right, the first one we're going to look at is Empire of the Petal Throne. Now, this is actually a role-playing game and not a board game, but the box looks like a board game. It looks like a board game of the mid-70s or the bookshelf games. What this is actually is, it's a role-playing game like Dungeons & Dragons, but it's like an alien world Dungeons & Dragons. And I believe it's the second role-playing game ever made. It was produced by TSR, written by some professor called M.A.R. Barker. And this thing has a unbelievable value in following. I've seen this in mint condition sell for $1,000 plus for the first edition. So if you see this, you get it every single time. Piece is missing, you'll still just do great. Now, our next one we're going to look at here is the AfroAmerican History Mystery Game. This was made in 1970 by Shendana Toys. Now, this could easily slip past your radar, as it has several checkpoints of normally being a worthless game. It's outdated, educational, possibly trivia. It's obviously a family game. Those sort of games tend to hold little to no value. Usually even hitting one of those makes a game worthless, but this one is a huge exception. This one shows up, it sells for hundreds of dollars every single time. So be out there. This is one that might even slip through. You might find this at the bins. This could be anywhere. All right, our third one is Campaign for North Africa. This is a bookshelf game by SPI. Now, there are hundreds of different cardboard counter war games from SBI, Avalon Hill, and several other companies, and their values are all over the map. Some are $10, others are hundreds, but this one seems to be the consistently most valuable one. So you see Campaign for North Africa in that bookshelf box, you buy it, even if it's not complete, you'll still be pretty happy with your results. All right, next one. My Favorite Martian board game from 1963. Seems like an obvious pickup, but it's also going to seem valuable to every garage sale seller in the world. So you're probably going to see this one priced up. And if you get it home, don't expect excellent gameplay, but you can expect to see hundreds of dollars in your wallet from selling it. Our next one, number 5, the Godzilla 1963 board game by Ideal. Another one I think that you're going to find it priced up. And this one has very few pieces, so you might as well check it for completeness if it's priced up. It should have 4 plastic player tokens, a round wood disc, and a spinner. Otherwise, it's just got a game board and a piece of orange packing inside. See it? You buy it. There are multiple other Godzilla board games as well. Almost all of them are sellable, but not all of them are worth hundreds of dollars. All right, sticking to the early 60s, here, number 6 is Archie's Fun Game from 1963. Now, I can tell you something. I have seen and played this game, and this game is the exact opposite of fun. It is a completely luck-based game of spinning the wheel, moving that many spaces, and sometimes drawing a card, which could cause you to move forwards or backwards or even lose 1 to 2 turns. Do you remember a time when games exactly like this were literally a third of the market, and somehow we bought them and played them? I don't think they make a lot of games like that anymore, at least not many. 12 of these 20 cards have negative effects, and the game designer obviously hated the male characters and loved Betty and Veronica, because every single Archie and Jughead card is negative, while the Betty and Veronica cards are positive 80% of the time. Now, when you're playing this game, there's no decisions to be made. There's nothing happening here except for random chance. The only real decision to make is whether or not you buy the game if you run across it in the wild, as if you find it, it's going to sell for hundreds of dollars. If you want to check it for completeness, you have a board, a spinner, 4 tokens, 4 little cardboard Archie Andrews, and 20 cards. Small enough to you could actually check it if it was really priced up. Our 7th, let's stick to this early to mid-60s here. The Get Smart board game by Ideal came out in 1965. This is another obvious pickup, but it's going to be marked up when you see it. But it's going to sell for hundreds of dollars. And you might want to check inside. There should be 4 character cards, a time bomb, and 4 player tokens. And that's about all you really need to be looking for inside. All right, number 8 is actually going to be a category of games, the Stratomatic sports games. They got baseball, basketball, pretty sure they've got football. I believe they made these from the late 50s through the 80s. There's tons of different years and sets of these, but basically all of them sell for big money, although the worst ones and the most common ones will dip below $100. But this also isn't the sort of thing that most sellers are going to mark up either. So if you see Stratomatic, you can definitely just safely buy that every single time. All right, number 9, Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West game by Transogram, 1966. Not to be confused with the Will Smith based games, except for the fact that the Wild Wild West movie was an adaptation of the TV show that this game is based on. And if you find it, you can expect to get several $100s for it. Number 10, Fireball Island, 1986. Now, there is a whole series of Fireball Island games, so we need to make sure you're not mixing this up with the sequel games or the expansion sets, as those are not worth nearly as much. The real Fireball Island is in a relatively huge box. See the photo here? Because there's this massive molded plastic game field inside. And this game has a huge following with various expansions and add-ons. And if your game is incomplete, you can either part it out on eBay, or you can find your missing pieces on eBay. I would base that really on the condition of your game board. If you've got a mint game board, I'd go for your missing pieces. If your game board is all broken and nasty, I would part out the other pieces. And you can expect to get several $100s for this, even with missing pieces, and it can go way up depending on condition and condition of the box. If you sell this, you're going to want to use calculated shipping with exact dimensions. Otherwise, you could lose a ton on shipping. Don't just say, oh, free shipping, and you're in Florida, it goes to Washington State, and you just spend $87 on shipping because of how big the box is. Also, generally with a box that big, you almost always want to send UPS, not USPS. All right, number 11, Magic Realm by Avalon Hill, 1978. This is another bookshelf game. Now, I have a general rule about old games. If it looks like Dungeons & Dragons, then it will probably be very valuable. There are some exceptions to that rules, like TSR's Dungeon game itself, which is based off Dungeons & Dragons, but it has been reprinted so many times that it holds little value. I think it's probably available in the store today. If not, it probably was 5 years ago. But this is one of those Avalon Hill bookshelf games. It'll often be found tucked in with a collection of otherwise serious war games that are only worth 10 to 20 bucks each. But this Magic Realm, definite money. I sold one for around $300 within the last year. So expect some real money for it. Number 12, the Addams Family board game by Ideal, 1964. Now, there are multiple Addams Family games. There are multiple games that are exactly called the Addams Family game. But I'm talking about the 1964 version by Ideal. And I've kind of looked into this game, and this game seems to at first have choice and a deep gameplay and strategy, but in reality it's an illusion of choice, as no choices you make in this game matter. Even the supposed choice between a double move or moving an opponent back under certain circumstances is just a false choice, as the two of you will still be in the same relative position regardless of the choice you make. Even though the gameplay is fake, the money is not. You can expect hundreds of dollars if you find this game. Number 13, 1981, The Dark Tower board game by Milton Bradley. This one seems like an obvious winner. Just glance at it, doesn't it? It looks like Dungeons & Dragons. It's got a cool electronic tower in the middle. Seems like a no-brainer for value. You can pay up for this. It sells for hundreds of dollars. Although games like this are a decent reason to carry some batteries around in your pockets at garage sales, because if this is priced up, you might want to pop a couple batteries in that tower and see if the tower actually works, because you don't want to pay a fortune. You don't want to buy up for $100 for this thing, find out the tower doesn't work, and then you're scrambling to break even. All right, I think that's all the board game bolos I've got for today. Thanks. If you know anybody who sells board games or people who don't sell board games, why don't you tell them about this channel? I'm about 50 subscribers away from my 3-year goal, and we're only in our 10th month, so it'd be awesome to hit that before the end of the month. Thanks. Hope to see you again soon.